Hello, welcome to your reading today. So, today we're going to be really doing a reading from the energy or the spirit of the holiday. Now, you can take this however you want. I was like, do I direct this into Samhain, right? Or Beltane, because I'm in the southern hemisphere. So, it's kind of opposite. Honestly, everything you'd watch on American TV, like holiday-wise, is the complete opposite in the southern hemisphere, of course, because of how the Earth tilts. However, I was like, no, we'll just stick to Halloween, right? The current how it's celebrated, the current spirit of that. It's going to probably draw back to the past as well, of course. However, you can take this as a message from the holiday. And that can be in a fun way, it can be in a serious way. Whatever comes through is going to come through. And because we're doing Halloween, I'm going to, instead of pulling cards for the picker piles, I have the pile 1, 2, and 3, which I'll show on screen. They'll pop up with an image, and that's going to be how you'll select your pile today. And you can tap into your intuition and see which one calls to you. So for pile 1, we're going to have the black cat. For pile number 2, you are going to see a wing. And for pile number 3, you are going to see a pumpkin. So I'll leave these here for however long needs to be there, but if you need more time, pause the video after I've stopped speaking, because after that I'll give about 5 seconds before I change over to the first pile. But otherwise you can drop down into the description to jump straight to your video when you know which one is yours. And I will see you in your reading today. Hello, welcome to your reading today, pile number 1. So you have chosen the black cat. The black cat popped up very first in my mind when I was doing this reading. I thought I was going to pull cards for it, honestly, when I started the video, and then I was like, no, we're going to do images. So the black cat, to me, anyway, there's so many representations, right? We're told like black cat, don't want to walk in a black cat's shadow, or bad luck, that kind of thing. I've actually had a black cat, and I've always found the black cats pretty protective, pretty strong, pretty robust, pretty scrappy, right? That's just from my personal experience. And I know around this time of the year at animal shelters, they have to be wary of people adopting them because some people do horrible things, right, to black cats. So, you know, don't do anything crazy. Don't do anything that hurts animals or other people. Of course, I don't think you would be watching this if you were that kind of way anyway, but you know, just have heart and be mindful of the creatures. So the real reason why I'm kind of bringing up that energy is it feels like just with that first message or image was like someone who's kind of gone through many things, right? The struggle is real type energy in certain parts of life. So we're going to see what really comes through in this reading. We've got interesting cards coming through. They did really focus in because I was like, I want the spirit of Halloween, right? The energy of Halloween. And when that conjures up images, it's kind of like fun, dress up, that kind of thing. And I feel like it's going to take that energy with the history of Halloween and how it's kind of evolved over time, because everything changes and evolves. We can't go back, but we can always learn from the past. And so that's what I'm kind of getting with this reading, is learning from the past, and yeah, we'll see what comes through, honestly. But yeah, let's grab some cards for you today. Pile number 1. Okay. Oh, some of these cards are a bit sticky. I think I've got the camera pretty close today, so it might be a bit of a squeeze for some of these cards. But hopefully whatever you do during Halloween, however you celebrate it, in the Southern Hemisphere where I am in Australia, it's not really super popular. However, I like to you know, participate and give candy to the neighborhood children and stuff, like if they come around, right? It's just having it available, and it's been really good. I put it in the fridge and I haven't eaten it myself. so, you know, that's something. But there's still a few more days until Halloween. I could eat it. Okay, so what's the message for you today, Par 1? Okay. Okay, I'm just going to flip these ones, and then I'm going to grab some of these circular cards, and then we'll pull some tarot at the end. So your first card, Par 1, you have cycles. It says here regressed and evolved. Regressed and evolved. Look, there you go. There's the black cat popping up straight away. There you go. So really nice here. Cycles, I mean, there's not too much to talk about with cycles, right? You either learn from the past or you don't. Either humanity learns from its past or it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, people say history is set to repeat. It doesn't really repeat itself because it's always different. But certain themes can play over and over if, as a collective, we don't do anything about it, right? If we put someone in power who is controlling, domineering, and then something terrible happens, and then 100 years later, once most of the people that went through it have kind of like left the earth, right, as incarnations. But you know, that could happen again, and if we do it again, it's like, let's see if humanity learns from its past, you know. So be really mindful of not really the collective, this was just an example, but really of your own cycles and things that are beginning and ending for you. And if you're in the northern hemisphere, it's a great way of releasing because it's autumn, right, where you are, or fall, as you might call it. So there's a lot of stuff. Finishing, cycles, ending, beginning. When one thing ends, another begins. And it's got the month here. Like even the month, the moon changes its cycles consistently. We're always changing consistently as well, even with our solar return, right? We have a birthday celebrating the year. Wow, look at that. Evolved and growth. It's quite a interesting image, right? It hasn't, that's why I'm like, it hasn't been easy. Life hasn't been just champagne and, I don't know, cake or something. I don't know, you know, something like that. It's really been at times difficult. So what can you learn and grow from it? How can you better your today from the challenges, or how have you bettered your today from the challenges of the past? How have we learnt, and what are we holding on to that may need to go, and what have we forgotten about our strength and ourselves that we need to remind ourselves about? So here it's got dying and evolving. You've got evolved and evolving. This is pretty strong energy, right? You might even be pushed into starting to deal with some of the challenging stuff that you've been going through. And while Halloween isn't necessarily going to be the thing that changes your mind or life, right? You are the controller. This is just a reminder of death, rebirth, of fun, of joy, of ups and downs, really. You've got the wounded child. It says healing trauma makes the world feel safer. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You might be pushed into dealing with something. This wounded child having to deal with a difficult challenge from the past. I would say take your time with it. Don't rush into it. Don't feel like you have to do anything either if it is really difficult. But make plans to maybe start to talk about it with a therapist or whoever can help you, or maybe start to unravel it in your mind so it doesn't feel like it really hurts today, right? Doesn't mean it's not going to hurt, but you don't want it to impact your decision making, your courage, your strength. And the music's just stopped. And the music I was listening to is like this South American person, a man, is not wearing. It's got a flute, and I think he's created it. It's like based off like old Aztec style instruments, I guess. That's what he kind of calls it anyway. and he's playing it, and it's called The Wandering Sage. And Wandering Sage is like someone who's gone through many, many tests and trials, right? And you can see that with like even fantasy novels when there's the old wizard, and sometimes the old wizard is really, really intelligent, really smart and skilled, but has learnt many things, and sometimes the fear of past ones or like lost companions in old excursions, right, has triggered or has held him back in certain ways. And so it's like, while you may be very skilled in many areas of your life, if there's anything that's holding you back, it may be a good time to look at it. If it's the right time, right? Is this the right cycle? No, then don't. If it is, then okay, maybe instead of just diving straight into it, maybe start thinking about how you would like to actually live your life, right? How you would like to actually enjoy the light and the shadows that's within us, basically, is how it's coming through. It's going to change the music now that that's stopped. Okay. You've got forgiveness, release resentment to regain balance. Release resentment to regain balance. That's a really, really nice message, right? I mean, look, it's very, very clear here. And it's not saying that you're not doing enough or anything like that. This is just an opportunity. You've picked this pile, and it's really, really strongly highlighting the challenges of being incarnate, really, and maybe things that you've gone through in your life, maybe people you've lost, maybe people that have left you, or maybe even abandonment issues, right? There's so much coming through. How can you move through that? Forgiveness isn't something that you give and offer to someone else. It's something you allow within yourself so that you can live a fulfilled life. You no longer hold on to those angers, those pains, in a way that stops you from living your day. You may still have them in some way, but they no longer dictate your present or your current life. And if they are, that may be something to look at. It's up to you. Remember, these are always up to you. You never have to do anything that anyone says, basically. But it is a nice message. Healing trauma makes the world feel safer. Stop living in fear. There's so much fear around, especially at the moment. So much fear. And to me, it feels like propaganda, right? It's like these people against these people, or this person against this person. It's kind of like this gender against this gender. Or like my beliefs against your beliefs. This needs to stop. Will it? Probably not. But like, that doesn't mean you have to participate in that kind of stuff. It's not going to help you. It's just going to kind of be a distraction away from your own healing. And I can kind of see that within people, right? People are focused so heavily on the negative of like, this person's doing this to me, even though they might be just living their lives, not even talking to them, but they feel offended by someone else's existence, right? So they start attacking them, but it's really their own projections of their own feelings towards themselves. So, you know, you don't want to get caught up in that. You have a really good opportunity to shine your light, even though Halloween might be focusing more on the shadows, right? That's exactly it. This is bringing the shadows into the light so it can be worked on and seen, and no longer puppeteering you from behind the shadows, puppeteering your emotions or your feelings or your mind. Okay, let's get some cards before I keep going on. You've got the waxing a gibbous moon with nurturing, patience, refinement. Love that for you. Nurturing, patience, refinement. Be kind to yourself. This is not about judgment. This is about a cycle. This is about getting to a point where you can continuously improve the betterment of your mental health, physical health, personal life, right? Okay, this one. You've got Aquarius with innovative, rational, and humanitarian. I like that. It's kind of like, by getting involved in the things that you love, this is just how it's coming through. It's like, by getting involved in things that you love, you become more compassionate. You would think you would compassion would be going out and going, okay, I need to go see this person, go tell them how good they are or whatever, right? This is just more of, no, you don't have to necessarily go out of your way to try to do something. You just live very freely and not get involved in the human drama side of it. You focus on the light, you focus on bringing light to darkness, right? You know how people sometimes talk about being conspiracy theorists, right? If they go through a particular path and they bring through information, it's no longer a conspiracy, right? I mean, I've seen videos where people are actually doing something. It's like an optical illusion without eyes, and people are like, "Oh no, the video's been edited to look like that." So it's not actually the video. It's just your. I mean, it's not an optical illusion. It's just a video. So it shows how humans get really like caught up in everything's fake or everything's true, right? And I think because in the past we believed whatever the police said or like an authority figure, and now we're in like everything the authority figure is saying is a lie. So we're trying to find a balance. Don't get too caught up in any of that. Just observe it and release it, especially if it doesn't need to be looked into by you. I don't know, I think that's just like a slight side comment to the real reason why this reading's coming through, and it's about bringing more peace and love and enjoyment into your life. Even the song playing right now that you can't hear, but it's called Bleeding, which is like, it's sometimes better to let it out, right? Not great to bleed, but there's a purpose for when that happens, the blood coagulates and like produces like a protectant until, you know, your body repairs itself. So, you know, it's kind of better than if it didn't happen. You know how some people have the hemophiliacs, they just keep bleeding and it doesn't coagulate, and then you can lose all the blood, right? So it's kind of like, it's a good sign. Like, it's probably good that it's bright red and whatever when it comes out onto our clothes anyway, so we know what's happening with our body. If we're not feeling it, we can visually see it. This is very sweet. You have the prayer. Look at this hand coming out of the heaviness. It's kind of like coming out of the ground, or like almost like a zombie, right? But it's more like coming out of the shadows and coming into the light, finding like peace and balance in your life, and still being the strong energy that you are, but actually feeling it too. So it's this is really, really nice. Prayer represents kind of like rituals as well, and we're talking about Halloween, so you know, this could really touch into habits. Rituals don't have to be like lighting a candle or something. I mean, it can be, right? But it doesn't have to be. It's like a ritual or a routine is getting up, going for a shower, brushing teeth, whatever, that kind of thing. But this is your prayers being answered to, especially if you've been feeling drained by someone or some past thing. It's really coming through. Yeah, it's a really good opportunity to bridge the gap, right? This bridging the cycles, the wound, taking care, or being, it feels like being in love with the innocence of who you were, not feeling like someone else has soiled like who you were. It's going back and kind of like bringing that energy, that good energy, that innocence energy back into this world, back into your present, because it's always there, it's within. It's all an inside job with this reading. So really nice message, honestly, from Halloween. So we'll have a look at what else comes through. And you can see Halloween is like the cycle. It's the, you know, it's celebrated on the last day of the month. So that's the ending of this year's October, right? And that's it. There will never be an October that will go through in 2024 the same. It's going to be different next year. Life will be different for everyone next year. Things will be different the following day. It's always evolving and changing. What we do with the energy at the time is up to us. Okay. La 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 la. Wow, the Ten of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles, getting this energy into your life. If you're living your life at the moment in a really good way, then, you know, this is only to enhance it or enrich it. And if you're really feeling kind of like flat, drained, or anything like that, the whole point of going through this work through, and it could just be kind of like loving yourself, basically, like, you know, going back and instead of judging that child or judging the person, going back and feeling love towards that child, feeling love towards, you know, that part of you. Whether you've been the one that's like hurt or been hurt, right, or like has been hurt and then has transferred that into other areas of life, into relationships or anything like that. You know, this isn't about finding blame. This is really about finding you. And it only brings good things. Like, it can only bring the end of a cycle, right? These are both tens. That's the end of the minors, if you don't count the court cards. But these two are fulfillment, blessings, reaching dreams and goals, and overcoming adversity. You know, finding security in yourself, in your life, in your home, finding care and love towards yourself, your family, you know, whoever this is about. Wow, look at that. You've even got the Four of Wands, success. Celebrate each moment that you work on these things, because this honestly feels like working through something. Bringing back courage, bringing back self-care, you know, whatever this is emotionally, whatever's going to heal and help you transform rather than slowly break down by holding on to a darkness that you don't want to look at because it's too scary, right? This is like, that's only going to lead to physical pain. Like, it kind of feels like, if, let's say, this is just an example, but let's say you were kind of like neglected as a child and you grow up feeling like you're a people pleaser, and so you keep trying to please, and then you keep attracting the people that kind of resonate with that because that's what you're used to. And then it's like overcoming that, recognizing your self-worth and being like, I don't need to please these people. We are in a partnership or in a connection, but I'm not here to kind of like be a punching bag or like something for someone. And it's kind of like that bridge, that overcoming kind of energy, and celebrate those small wins. That's not a small win, right? But it's like, that's a huge win, but it's like incremental little things every day. Even if you're in bed and you're like, don't want to get up, but you get up and you're like, I need to have a shower because that'll help me wake up and start to feel better. And so you do that. Celebrate that as well. Celebrate that you didn't just stay in bed or like ignore something. But when I was talking about the physical thing, with the person that was neglected, it's kind of like, if you keep holding on to those things, like, that's what I'm worth, that's my worth, it's kind of like turns into like a cyst or something. Like, this is just how it's coming through. I don't think everyone's going to go through this kind of thing, but it's like physical ailments can kind of arise from untapped, ignored or old wounds, trauma, challenges, darkness, right? So this Halloween period is a real time to release and bring in light, spotlight those shadows, those traumas. Okay. Knight of Wands. This is kind of cool. This is a Wolverine, which I believe is predominantly in Americas, right? Probably North America. I don't know exactly, but I know that they're there. It's an interesting one because you can see the forest is kind of like shifting and changing, and it's burning. And it's almost like the Wolverines kind of burnt it in a way. It's like, I'm going to not really burn bridges, right? It's not about burning bridges, but I'm going to release the past. And it takes a long time to, when you've held on to something and it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, and it kind of takes more time to release it. That's okay, because if you're releasing it, it's not going to get bigger. It may take time, but taking time doing something that is worth your while, right? Because it brings in happiness, fulfillment, or there's progress and self-care, etc., then it's well worth it. So the Knight of Wands, going through the challenges. I feel like the Knight of Wands does kind of go through challenges too, because a lot of the times I've seen the Knight of Wands, besides the traditional he's like in a desert, or he, she, or whoever is in a desert, right, on a horse. It's like the desert's not a great place to be, but it's better to, instead of just sitting on the side waiting and hoping the desert will turn into a grassland, it's going to take a very long time, right, and probably not in this lifetime. So instead of leaving it for the next kind of lifetime or something like that, it's like, I'm going to go through this desert. It's going to be a challenge, but I'm going to get to the other side, and I'm no longer going to be stuck where I was before. So yeah, very powerful reading coming through for you today, pile number 1. But you chose the little black cat, and so I guess the black cat has some words. But yeah, this is your reading. Very well worth moving through some of these challenges. Your prayers are kind of being answered. They're not going to be taken away like they just disappear. This is your own process and working through difficult challenges that you've been through. So really, really nice. If you have any questions, of course, leave a comment. I'm going to leave this there and leave you with the love of this reading, and enjoy the Halloween period. Regardless of what you do and celebrate, enjoy it. Do what you need to do to really take care of your own needs and what's right for you. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time. Hello, hello. Welcome to your reading, pile number 2. So you've chosen the lovely Wing. The song that was popping up in my head is for the reason why I even chose a wing for the Halloween themed, right? Halloween message was that song Broken Wings. Do you know what? It's you can play on broken wings. You can feel anything that your heart don't want to feel. I don't know the words exactly, but I'm just playing, like, in my mind, that's the words. Just making up my own words here. Leave me be. But that's kind of what was playing. And I can't remember the meaning of the song, but you may be dealing with, or you might be the one who feels in some way damaged or broken. I'm going to say 2 things. One, you're not. Work on your own stuff if you feel that's your call to do on those kind of why those kind of feelings or things are coming through. But also, if you're the other type who's trying to quote unquote fix someone, can't do it. You can support and help them when they ask for it, but don't put yourself in situations where you're feeling like you end up becoming their rock, right? And they should be their own rock. You're their friend who's like a rock, right? I guess, but more of a support. The strongest supporter should be yourself, or should be that person. So if we're talking about you, strongest support should be you. If it's another person, their strongest support should be themselves. So just think about that and take what resonates, leave what doesn't. All connections and relationships are partnerships, not so much I would be lost without you, because then that person becomes dependent. And maybe in the relationship they can learn their own balance with that. However, just be aware of it, basically. What you do with it, your business. Okay, so that's just what was popping up. However, yeah, we'll see what Halloween wants to say to you. So you can take this as a message from the festive season of Halloween. The song playing too at the start of the reading was Paradise, and it was really freaking loud when it was coming through. Sometimes I won't hear songs and then real loud, some songs will be really loud, and it's not like the volume goes up, it's just I feel like I get tuned into it where I have to say something. But it was called Paradise. It's finding that that peace, that kind of that dream almost. So we'll see what comes through. It's going to be an interesting one for sure. Okay. Well, it looks like it is going to lean in towards what I was talking about, right? Can't fix people. You're not broken as well. This is about, instead of thinking I'm broken, I can't be fixed, focusing on what do I need to look at. You've got shadow work with negligent, which is not really focusing in on it. And then loving, starting to love who you are, even in your shadows. why would they pop up in the first place? Maybe they're there to protect you from difficulties when you're a child. Maybe they were there to ensure that you weren't hurt. And now they may be limiting. So it's like, I love you for what you have provided for me to get to here, but now this energy needs to be released or transmuted into something new because it's no longer helping me in my life now. I've got to a much better place than where I was. You know, something like that. Okay. All right, this one came through for pile 1 as well. Same position, growth, dying, and evolving. This is quite a graphic image of these hands being wrapped around. So a similar kind of message with this one as the last pile. If you were drawn to that, have a look at it. Doesn't feel like you have to. Like, I'm just feeling into the energy. And it's like, you don't have to. You listen to this one. This is probably your message. But if you were curious, I feel like there's probably an extra little bit in there of something. It might be like a couple of words that I say, so it may not be worth your time if you've got other things to do, right? But dying and evolving. So it's like, do I hold on to this where it starts to slowly infect me, right? Some of these shadows that infect me, or is it time to let things go and start to transform? It's very interesting because the thing that's popping up is like, you know how there's belief systems, right? So let's say there's Catholicism here, and then in another country, it gets introduced. And so if it's the 1950s, it gets introduced here. Sometimes here, the original place where the Catholicism was created, this is just an example, I don't know, but where it was created, like, let's go to 2000, it's evolved over time, right? It's kind of like language, it evolves over time. But the people that took it over there and kind of believe it, it may not have evolved there. It may still be exactly what it was 500 years ago. And so they might see that as like very polarizing and different, like we're the better Catholics or they're the better, you know, whatever. So it's just really interesting. And same with language. I could see that with someone whose family moved from Italy to the US and they had a really old way of speaking when they learned Italian in the US and went back. It was like very old fashioned. Same with Cantonese. There was another video where, you know, they were brought up in the US and had like a little group of people that were speaking Cantonese, and then go back to China and the parts where they predominantly speak Cantonese, and, you know, it's like completely different. It's like very old-fashioned. So it's interesting. It's like, do you hold on to this? I know it's like a pretty far-out example, but like, do you hold on to this and keep it the same, or do you allow it to evolve in your own way? Do you allow now a time to evolve your story of your soul even, which seems quite deep, but you don't have to keep the same theme in the next lifetime. And then like, it's almost like other lifetimes are watching this lifetime to see if they're allowed to move through. And don't take that as like a heavy thing. It's just like, see that as like an opportunity to make some headway or some changes that you want to see within your reality and within yourself. Okay, that felt very channeled. Worry, you've got the illusion of control. Okay, interesting. I'm going to leave that there for a second. Got card 22. Which is kind of interesting because the wing kind of reminds me of like an angel wing, right? But I was like, how's that a Halloween theme? But here we go. Got a little angel number coming through. Yeah, we do have the illusion of control sometimes. Everyone has it. Everyone does it. We feel like we can control a situation or a scenario. And generally, if we get too cocky about it or anything like that, things blow up and like, how did that happen? It's like, because it was too stringent. Sometimes there's too many rules. It's like with belief systems, right? If there's so many rules that like, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that, then people are going to do it anyway because we're human, and they're going to do it and feel guilty or bad, or like they're going to go somewhere negative or whatever. It's like, but it feels taboo, so it feels like naughty, right? Just let people be people. Stop getting involved and like trying to break down structures where people aren't ready, or like if that's for you, or think about your own walls and boundaries and see what are working and what are old stories, right? It's just like a whole lot of reflection, I feel. Like literally these are the soul reflection cards, or mirror soul cards, something like that. And this one's, she's looking in the mirror. So it's not about judgment. It's just about what do I want to feel. And the song is called Let You Go, right? So don't concern yourself with things you can't change. On the news, in the governments, right? You know, focus on your part of the world, yourself. What can you do in your little pocket of life? That's basically what Halloween, I guess, is really trying to bring through the festivities, an opportunity to not get too caught up in scaremongering, scare tactics and fear, or even just silly little dramas that humans like to project outwards because they don't know of a good way of dealing with their own bullshit, right? Basically. So don't get caught up in other people's bullshit. All right. Guilt. So you've got guilt. A past stronghold is no longer true for you. What did I say before? What did I say? The cards are speaking truth. I haven't actually pulled this card before, so I haven't seen it, but now this makes sense why it's coming through to this reading, because it's absolutely true. The past stronghold is no longer true for you. What did I say before? Holding on to the past, or like old stories which protected you in the past, are no longer helping. So have a look at those. Find which ones aren't helping, which ones stop you from doing things that you want to try or like to do or want to be or whatever, or want to study, right? Have a look at those. Go for it. Go get it. Go get it, Sagittarius. Sagittarius is adventurous, free, and philosophical. Sagittarius, for a fire sign, it's kind of very spiritual, right? Has like a lot of spiritual energies, and when you look at it, you just think, oh yeah, horseman shooting an arrow. Like that would be direction, focus, and that kind of thing. But it's also like thinking and focusing. Like it's very mindful and thoughtful. So I feel like even the energy of, this is just take this as what resonates. But it almost feels like some of the star signs are starting to shift mentalities, right? You know, even people talk about it now with, like, let's say Virgo, detail orientated, very like nitpicky, very like must be perfect, must be clean. And it's like these days, modern day Virgo, that doesn't resonate at all. It's still methodical, and lists maybe they like that kind of stuff, but a majority aren't perfectionists or like self-critical or all that. They probably are that, but there's like, you know, it's transforming, and it kind of feels like this one is transforming into a very spiritual mentality. So maybe some of the star signs out there are starting to shift form into their spiritual form. I don't know what that means or what that looks like. I'm not even a astrologist, right? So I don't know, ask one of them. If you have any friends, ask them if they see some of the signs starting to transform in some way. I don't know why you need to know that, but if the star signs can transform, so can you. Yeah, where you going? Where are you going? Why do I sound like a TV host? Anyway, I'm really excited by this reading. Like, it just feels really hyped up. So Halloween is hyping you up. You've got the North Node with destiny, purpose, and activation. Yeah, this is like it's like Sagittarius has been awakened. Some of the star signs might start to shift, which might upset some people, right? Because they're so set on their labels and beliefs. But this is a good thing. Things transform. You're transforming. You're evolving. Things are evolving. This feels really good. Focus on what's important and what you do have command over, which is like your own thoughts, sometimes our own thoughts, right? But what we say, what we do, you can have authority over that for sure. We don't always do, but when we don't, and we're starting to speak out of pain and hurt instead of out of truth and what's relevant, then we need to stop and reassess, reevaluate, and see what's going on within ourselves to see why we're in that place. Okay. The medallion. Oh, wow. This is really cool. It's like a goal or a dream being reached. Like it's like it's almost like finding your purpose in life. Finding some kind of peace and purpose in life. I don't know. But you're kind of like winning. as in you're getting this, and it's not being given to you, you've earned it, right? People don't do like, I don't know, whatever, sports or something, or go to the Olympics, and people don't just go, here, you can have this, you can have this, you can have this, and then they don't compete, right? They earn it. They've earned it through slogging, gutting themselves pretty much, like day after day of like practice and all that kind of stuff. They've earned it. Whether they win or lose, they still have completed or even competed at the Olympics. Like that's a big thing. So you need to be mindful of your own achievements as well. King, nice. Getting into this position where you feel like you have command over your mind, thoughts, life. This is really cool. This is really, really cool. Don't worry about this. The past stronghold is no longer true for you. What is the past stronghold that is no longer true for you? Like if someone comes into the house, do you automatically get fearful and scared that someone's broken in, even if it's like they've used the key and your husband or wife or whoever or kids are coming home, right? And it's that time that they would normally come home. When your partner touches you, do you flinch out of fear because in the past you were hurt? You know, that kind of stuff. How can you work through it? It's gonna be just a mindset of knowing that I no longer want to live in fear of XYZ. And you have to go through it in however way that you've worked for you. I can't tell you that you have to find a way that works for you, but recognizing it's like recognizing the problem, right? So like when you admit that you're a drug addict or something, instead of going, oh, I could get off at any time, or I'm addicted to nicotine, right? I remember talking to someone who was asking about it, and I was like, oh no, I could stop this anytime. I just don't want to. And it's like, well, if you can't even admit that you have like a problem, right, then you can't, there's no basis or foundation to work from. Okay, tarot cards. Tower moment, nice. Getting rid of this old shit. Like this tree is old as hell. Like these birds knew that it was old. It was probably already dead, and it's finally come tumbling down. Ooh, the song is called Phantom, which I think is kind of cool. These are like ghosts from the past. Clearing that shit up. Recognizing your own power, King. The Magician. This is masculine energy in the form of being able to take action, to be able to create, be able to transform. Like you are super freaking powerful. You just may have forgotten that part of you. And that real part of you, the part that doesn't get sucked into drama online of comments or looking at horrible comments from horrible people. That's their own bullshit. Like let them deal with their own shit. You're not here for that. You ain't broken. You are just remembering your wings, basically. Okay. This one? Yeah, you can make really good progress. You can probably make some really quick progress because the tower is very quick, right? The 8 of Wands is getting back on track and getting on a path that really is nice. It's like you've gone through the bumpy stuff. Now it's supposed to be the speed run, almost. Like not like speed run, but just like the quick path. The focus, the precision, right? This bird is not really scared of the snake because the bird knows who it is. The bird hunts the snake. So why would I be scared of a snake when I'm the one eating it? You know what I mean? I mean, I don't think you should eat a snake, but you know what I mean. This bird's hungry. It's got to eat something. Okay. Wow. And your last card, the Ace of Pentacles, right? Using the purity of who you are, unflurring and uncovering all those like hidden aspects, all those shell aspects to really see the purity and beauty of yourself. But it's not just like pretty and innocent, it's also wise and majestic, right? So it feels really magical with the Magician above, even if he is a little raccoon. I don't know what really raccoons represent. We don't have them anywhere I've lived in my life. So, but you know, every time I see them on like shows or whatever, they're kind of in the rubbish. They're kind of optimists, right? They're able to utilize the tools of everything. They can live in the forest, they can live with humans, and they seem to like be able to get what they need out of it because we're pretty wasteful. So why not utilize the skills and the energies that you have? The past doesn't belong in the future. Basically, that's how this one's going. Okay, so this is all about loving yourself. Basically, this is about remembering who you are as a soul, celebrating yourself, getting back your power and utilizing it. Getting it back doesn't go from like going next door and taking it back from the person who yelled at you. It's not that. It's remembering who that is within you. It really, really is. Focus on what you can, on what's right for you. Don't worry about the things, especially the worldly things that are going on that you have no control over. Play your part, but don't let it consume your life. Okay, I'm going to leave that there for you. Hopefully this really helped you, pile number 2. Yeah, take care of yourself. If you have any questions or like want to dive deeper into this, let me know in the comments. You know, it's fine to ask questions. If I don't know, I'm not going to say XYZ. I'll say, I don't know. When I do these readings, I'm not trying to think what is the right thing. I'm sure my human mind does play a part into the messages, of course, but I'm really going from the heart space into letting it out of whatever needs to come out. And that's why sometimes I go off on one tangent and then forget the other tangent I was on, because I'm really trying to like dance all the way to the message. Okay, but thank you for letting me read for you today, pile 2. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one. Hello, welcome to your reading, pile number 3. So you've chosen the pumpkin. Really funny because straight away when I got the pumpkin, I was like, oh, this is the fun pile. And then whenever I say fun pile, it goes all over the place anyway. So it just feels like it's more of the lightheartedness. So if you're super serious and you think you're going to click off because it's like, oh no, I need the serious pile, don't click off. Boop, that's cute. But maybe you need to add a little joy and happiness into life as well and not take things so serious. It's almost like I can see you cracking a smile. You should be. This is supposed to be fun as well. Not everything has to be so serious, right? We're not robots. Maybe in the future when we are robots, then you can be all serious, but not today. Okay. Let's get into it. So you've got the lovely pumpkin. That always reminds me of harvest, right? Pumpkins also being able to survive. Like for some reason, pumpkins are reminding me of survival. I don't know why. No idea, but providing energy and life-giving. Oh, okay, now it's popping up in my head. I saw a video years ago of this moose coming around during Halloween and eating the pumpkins, right? Because it's able to get some food, so it's utilizing what's around it. It's like, okay, these people are crazy. They decorate food, right? And put it out on their porch for some reason. I'm gonna go eat that because they're just wasting it. So at least it's like, you know, being utilized. I'm assuming that was in, since it's a moose, probably in like the north of United States, or of course Canada, right? Okay, let's take a look at what your message from Halloween is going to be about. Oh, intuition, confused and clear. So also a patience reading. In time, you'll understand. You could even be in a good place to work on some spiritual practices, maybe even some kind of fun ones, right? Like Tai Chi ball or something like that, which is like, well, I don't actually know if that's the name, but this is just what's popping up. It's like moving energy around, transforming the energy in your hand into like different elements and feeling that power and just having fun with it. like even spiritual stuff doesn't have to be so serious. Even if you're like a police officer and you're like, you know, you see them sometimes on shorts and clips where they're kind of making jokes or having fun, right? They're part of the community. They're not just like following the law to a T where everything else means nothing, right? It's like, yeah, you want them to follow the law, of course, but they're also people. So, I mean, you might have different feelings towards police officers and stuff. I grew up in New Zealand where while they weren't all perfect, right, a lot of them did feel like they had a lot of heart in the job. There was purpose. It wasn't about being someone higher or better. It was like supporting communities, really, which I feel is exactly what it should be about. But anyway, that's going off track. Intuition coming through. Receptivity, dissatisfied and grateful. Receptivity, how open are you? How open are you to energies? What are you looking at? What are you focusing in on? What are you turning a blind eye to? It's really interesting coming through. But dissatisfied and grateful, it's really like, it's kind of interesting one because it's like, well, of course that's opposite. This I'm satisfied with. This I'm not satisfied with, right? It could be like, you know how when we get like real human and we go to a restaurant or something and we don't like the sauce too close to this or this too close to that, we start to get so freaking nitpicky that we're like, what is this life even about? Like, what are we doing? It's okay to be like that if you're super into it. I would be asking, why does this have to be so specifically placed out like this? Like, what's that about, right? Like, even with other people, it's like, what is that about, really? What did you bring over from the past life where you're like so pedantic about things? I don't know why that's popping up, but you know, if there's anything that's just like so closed off and so rigid, like, oh, I'm a tarot reader, I have to, this card always means this, no matter what, unless it's next to this card. If these two cards are together, then that must mean this. It's like, well, screw your intuition, right? You're not using that. You're using logic to try to read something that's more mystical and free. So look, I'm not judging. It's just like, maybe take a look at those things where you have built way too many structures. It's like you've overstructured everything to the point of like, even if the building was blown up, there's so many outside support structures that wouldn't even fall. And that might feel really safe, but it almost is like, well, what if you want that now building to break down because you want to build a different one? Now you have to deconstruct all these structures to get to the cause where the building's already collapsed anyway. It's already unsafe. But now I have to break down all these walls, right? All these external scaffolding that have stretched out over so much space that I couldn't even build a good road or whatever. I know it's a weird analogy, but that's what's coming through. I almost read that wrong. So you've got nyctophilia, which is comfort in darkness. I don't know why that's so weird. Not so much what I thought it was in the first time, but like the comfort in darkness is kind of like, it's nice just sitting in the shadows, right? It's nice just being here, not being observed, not being watched. This might actually be a good time to break out of your comfort zone. Because anyone with like, there's like phobia and philia, right? Philia is like very strong love towards whatever, and phobia is like a fear or like a disdain for something, right? So it's kind of like, you know how I was talking about the plate and the peas and the like food has to be in like a particular way or very specific portions and blah blah blah. Some of those things are fine if you're like, if there's purpose behind it, but if there's just like, this is just the way I am, it's kind of like, why though? Have a look at that. Yeah, choo-choo. You've got 3020, which is 2020 vision. A new earth begins. Oh, it's going to be challenging. Look, if you kind of don't let yourself be free, lighten up maybe, or just like break down some of those structures, it's kind of funny because it feels like I can see you kind of like, even in your astral space, you've got so much protection. It's almost like, why? It's kind of like wearing 5 condoms, right? It's just like one will be fine. You don't need to overdo it. So just think about that, I guess. I don't know why condoms came up, but anyway, let's just keep going. But New Earth begins. You want to be very clear with what you want, being very clear with like who you are as well, and being very clear with what structures and supports you've got in place that are necessary and that aren't necessary. It's kind of like, I wake up, I do this protection layering all over myself, blah, 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 because I don't want to be hurt. And it's kind of like, well, you're not going to be hurt because you can trust yourself that you'll make decisions in any moment to be able to be free, right? So yeah, it's nice to put that on to like be like, if anything negative comes in, I want it reflected back or out. But if it's like I'm putting on protection because I'm fearful of something, like this is like spiritually, right? Or even like it might rain outside, instead of just putting 1 jacket on, or protective coating, you're putting on 5, right? It's just too much. Like, calm down. Loosen up. Lucy. All right, let's see. First house, body, self, presence. Yeah, have a look at this. Have a look at what the first house is really representing. You might even want to look at your own first house and see, you know how a lot of people really focus on the sun sign as being like, I'm this, I'm that, which is kind of funny because I see the sun sign as like the mask or the clothes, or the radiance, right? The light around, the aura, whereas the moon's the internal, and the first house, which is the rising, is kind of like the body, the self, the growth kind of period, or the growth energy. So look, obviously if you disagree with that, you disagree with it, you don't want it, stick to whatever feels right to you. I'm not an astrologer and I don't really focus too heavily on it, but it's just, that's how it's coming through today in this reading. Bam, you've got Jupiter, optimism, growth, and opportunity. Yeah, I mean, that's just it. Especially right next to self. Jupiter is supposed to represent like the leader of the gods, right? Kind of like Zeus. Jupiter, I think, is like, I don't know which one's which now, but either Greek or Roman. I think Roman, right? Yeah, Roman. Which is why it's probably the biggest planet in our solar system. It's kind of gigantic. It's supposed to be able to fit all planets in the solar system into Jupiter, and there's still space, right? So it's a big one. And here it's representing optimism, change, opportunity, growth, like all that good energy to create and be somewhere or do something that really sparks some kind of invigoration within you. That's what I'm kind of getting. Getting out of the box. What did I say? You've got the box. If the box is healthy, perfect, keep the box. If the box is old, it's kind of like going through your house in spring cleaning, right? Autumn clean if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. Do the internal release, or the external, or both. Oh, wow. You've got a gape. This always reminds me of your connection with God. And it's funny that it's like Jupiter, right? Representing the leader, or like the that kind of archetype of, I don't know what's coming through, like the kind of like the archetype of where you can go to somewhere for support and feeling that. But a gape is like the connection between all things, the connection between your higher self, your God self, your relationship with God. You might actually even be having a conversation with, you know how they say mother, father, God, like kind of like that, like the essence of all things. You might be actually in a place now where you're like, how do I do this? Who in my team is going to help with this the best? What's the best support? Who should I work with on an astral level? Who can I work with on a physical level? You know, all this kind of stuff to really break out of old themes or things that I hold on to that are just not really needed. It doesn't feel like trauma necessarily. It's just like, I'm so rigid and structured that I need to lose some of the rigidity and structure. Like, you know, even if you go a particular path home, like maybe changing that up a little bit. I don't know why that might just even open this door. You might think, well, that does nothing. Well, it's like, no, it shifts your mind. It's like you're seeing a little bit of different place. It's like, oh, there's houses down here now. Used to be empty. Or, oh, that house is burnt down because of some fire or whatever, right? It's like, wow, and they're rebuilding it. That's cool. You know, whatever. It's just like, it gives you a different viewpoint of your daily life. And this is regardless if you have like a crazy life in the astral, right? You're always doing something different there. Then it's pointing towards your physical life. If your physical life is all over the place sometimes, like maybe it's your spiritual or internal world. You know, really consider what's being said and take, of course, what resonates and leave what doesn't. Woo! 9 of Cups. Go get it, pile 3. Go get it, you pumpkins. Yeah, this is cool. It's just like it's allowing yourself to be okay with getting something, bringing some like love and joy into your life. It's really cool. 9 of Cups, individuality, letting maybe your individuality shine, right? Also dreams coming true, getting a wish fulfilled by moving on from the stuff that wasn't really needed anymore. Could be just taking up layers of clothes. And realizing, oh, I'm actually warm without 50 jackets on, right? I just need 1 jacket. I'm fine. It's kind of like overprotection. Look at it. Look at all these freaking layers. It's too much. Team too much. It's almost like another person's kind of like, well, I'm a Wiccan or something, right? I'm a Wiccan, so I have to follow these rules. You wouldn't understand because you're not this or that. And it's like, you know, pop off, sis. Like, if that's what you really feel is right for you, then I'm not here to tell you what to do. This is a reading for you to consume and produce something in your own mind, basically. Let it fall. Let the tower crumble. Like, let it fall. It's okay if it falls. Let those layers fall so you can get to the real heart and juice, the juicy pieces of you. Yeah, sit with this. I know it might sound a little accusatory, but even from spirit point of view or Halloween point of view, right, this energy of the festive season, this kind of fun play season, is to bring more love and is coming from a heart space and a loving center. You can still be, you know, your own wacky, weird self without doing the same thing over and over again or trying to follow a particular law or rule. You're very much free. Give it some time with this like opossum, kind of interesting creatures. We don't have things like that, but they're terrifying looking. But you know, they're just trying to live their life, I guess. But we have possums over in Australia, but they just look different. I guess because they're not opossum, right? They're just possum without the O. I don't know what happens to the O because it changes your face a lot. But anyway, this is the Hanged Man representing spiritual enlightenment, right? And I feel like that's very true because there was an aspect of spiritual enlightenment, and maybe you're talking to God or someone about like, why am I not getting these things, or why is this not happening for me, or why is it so hard to alleviate this pressure? And it's like, because like the wish comes through into this wall, then has to get through this wall, then has to get through this wall, and then by that time it's got to the center, you're in the next life, right? It's taken 50, 20, like 100 years to get through. So why so fearful? Why so protective? Anyway, I'm going to leave that there. It's a really interesting reading. All this is wanting to do is just give yourself some freedom and love, a love of self, love of life, joy into life. There's a lot of opportunities here, and I feel like you're being given kind of a blessed, like it's a really blessing or a blessed time to get this party started in a way and break out of old traditional mindsets. But that is up to you, because you don't have to logic something that isn't based off human logic. Go free with it and create what you want, especially if you're doing something creative, right? You don't want to logic it. You don't want to go, oh, well, at school I was taught how to do things like this. Just one more example before you run away. This person showcases on YouTube shorts, like these artists, right? And so this woman in 2020, when she was COVID was going around, and so she started to do water painting. She was not practiced, she was not studied, she just went with it very freely. And so because she did that and didn't try to emulate a specific style that was deemed as right, she had no limits, right? So she was able to just do it without thinking, am I doing it right? She was just doing it. She wasn't trying to do it right or wrong. She was just creating. And so that's the kind of energy that I feel is wanting to you. Just be free, be you, be like happy, be connected, feel that you can just trust your intuition without having to like create a storybook around it, or like chains and whips, and not whips, maybe that's the wrong thing, chains or like walls or structures around it, right? It's fine as it is. Just be free. Break down the walls and run in the field and, you know, pick some flowers. I don't know. Do whatever you want. I'm going to leave that there. So I really hope this helps you today. Pile number 3, you are the pumpkin. Go forward, little pumpkin. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next reading.